surfing. Rashes. Oh, yeah. Baby, I can't get enough. Blitz. I think that surf presents
Pure Tour Nerdism. Vaughan, coming into this May, June, magic May as it were, June, autumn, swell apocalypse, I had a bit of an episode, a bit of a freak out.
Oh, no.
When I looked at my quiver and I realised I was down my classic Tube Shooter 6.2, my Stratty Indo sled, and I thought, you know what, this isn't right. As the charismatic leader of an anarchist mushroom surf cult, surely I should be able to scab a surfboard off someone. And I just thought, yeah, you know what, I can.
Yeah.
And in fact, I can scab a board off anyone. So I really racked my brain and I thought, out of all the world shapers and all the models on the market, whose board would I want most? And then I thought, well, who's the most coned cunt alive? And then I thought, of course, the Buddha.
The board.
And I consulted the Buddha on his sacred steed, and he pointed me towards the big horse, the JS Industries big horse, and that's what I've got. And it's a fucked up, specifically conical conquistador of a craft, built for perfect pits from Indo to Stratty, refined by the great man Ty Buddha Graham himself, a Stratty lord, a Goldie, born and bred, cone fiend, classic core lord, now residing in Indo. So that's what I got. I got you one too, Vaughan.
Thank you very much, Smithy. And I'm pumped because if there's one bloke who knows how to wield a tube spear, it's fucking Bud. He unrolls that black lippy and just shoves it straight in the moist bit.
Oh, yuck.
But, mate, he knows tubes. And he actually took me into getting the little swallowtail just for a little bit more give in the manoeuvrability stakes, because this thing loves to go in a straight line. But if we're getting serious about getting the Vish, mate, it is the big horse by JS. We're on board with the Bud. We're on board with Big Jace. Let's do it.
Yes, welcome to Blitzed, Pure Tour Nerdism, rinsed corn, an absolute crackerjack surfing event, chock full of the outer limits of high-performance surfing, as good a showcase of the pointy end of high-performance surfing as you're ever going to see. Hard to ask for much more. Maybe slightly lighter winds on finals day and a bit more consistency, but look, as it was, plenty of opportunity for everyone and not enough wind to have a significant effect on the lineup. And it showed in the scores. Mammoth heat totals galore.
Huge.
Countless nail biters and pure high-performance surfing getting rewarded and getting the biscuits. I threw it a 4.5 out of 5 on the SHAT rating. S for skits, H for hamad, A for, are you kidding me? And T for torture. It was also really sick to bathe in Southern Californian surf culture throughout this event. It was an old-fashioned Cali rally. They showed up big time, the SoCal surf community, and their charges answered the call. Incredible performances from Katie Simmers, Griffin Colapinto, Cole Hauschman, Sawyer Lindblad. They couldn't get the win in front.
You can whack Kanoa in there,
Yeah, you can. Yeah, that's right.
You can. I know he's up the road. I know HB, it doesn't get the same love as Trestles, but, he did some reps out there.
Yeah, and that none of them could come up with the win in front of the home crowd, but they left no stone unturned trying. And I thought it was just a really savvy move by the Woz to feature also so many local characters and share so many local stories about the zone, the waves, the history, to give us a real sense of the place. I really enjoyed that on the broadcast, and it's a good theme that I hope they continue with as we move on to Brazil. We saw it here in Australia with yourself, Team Lob, Bugs, bringing in these kind of local characters and sharing the folklore and the surf culture and giving us a real regional sense of where we are. I think that's really what makes surfing such an exotic and sick product. And there was just a couple moments that really got me, like seeing Griffin's dad there in his state park uniform. He's a local lifeguard of his mates. They're all state park guys too, all in their uniforms, cheering their son on the job. Yeah. And just that kind of working class mixed with high performance surfing. It really brings it into this like authentic gritty place that I loved.
Mixed with the jumbo coffee cups full of fucking brown liquor just first thing in the morning. The true believers down there, the old bears, lemon next to the pie crew. Yeah, man, I think the Oz leg kind of kicked everyone from their prospective regions right in the coit because they turned up on a mission to go, all right, well, fuck, if that's how the Aussies are doing it, let's show them what we can actually do. Because I think the froth and the further of finals day is one thing, but to have, like relentless sort of new reads on that canvas at Trestles, it is such a high performance, epic zone to cut loose. The heat totals say that's what we got, and the surf fans came out and forced to appreciate that. It was a good scene.
Yeah, it was a good scene. A few other names worth doffing the cap to. Tanner Gurdang, saw Dill Slater on the broadcast.
Yep.
Rachel Tilley, the
quality,
the world longboard champ. Joey Turpel was in fine form in his home zone.
Full voice.
So it's just a sick showcase of Californian surf culture. And fuck, man, it has been the home of high-performance surfing, aerial surfing for a long time. Good to see Slater on the broadcast too, giving his rundown of, I think, what was he saying? He surfed, he's been surfing there since fucking 1980 or something ridiculous. 45 years he's been competing at that wave. An incredible contest, man. Best wave, Vaughan. I'll start with the women's. Had to be Molly Pickle.
Had to be.
9.60 against Katie Simmers to help her finally get a win over the Californian.
Wasn't
after
there some
6
sting, mate?
head-to-head
Sting in
attempts.
that one.
Yeah. Biggest single wave score of the year for the women. Found one of the biggest waves of the day and fully attacked it. Went so hard at the biggest section anyone tried to hit that event. Shades, like kind of a cute version of that sunset turn.
Yep.
Huge lip line belt, stuck it clean as you can and use the momentum from the buttery transition to somehow make a long stretched out foam section. Clubbed it again, wrapped it back and got a solid finish on another well overhead section. Biggest wave, surfed with commitment and flow, and the judges gobbled it right up. Nom, 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 nom.
Yeah, well, it had to happen. It just couldn't. We couldn't watch another Molly capitulation at the hands of Simmersy Bra. And I think I was telling you, Smivvy, when we did the Blitzed rap from Margaret, like when Molly lost her heat, she paddled in down on the beach, down by Budja, and just sat there. Not even sat there. She was actually just floating on her back, using her board like a floaty, staring at the sky for a long, long time.
Jeez, I wouldn't recommend doing that at Mark's.
No, well, she was in the shallow water, but still, I mean, all sorts of nasties can get you in there. But, so she floated around. She was just so devo. Like, you could tell that she was going, what is going on here? And she ended up getting to the beach, and she just sat on the sand by herself. This is sort of out of view of the contest. It never appeared on the broadcast or anything. And I just thought to myself, she's really feeling this one. This is either going to be a changing point or the beginning of a real mid-season collapse. And I was so thrilled that she, gets Simmersy Bra and just is absolutely going, no fucking chance. Bruh. No chance, Simmersy. Bruh. Like, cop this. And that wave was, early in the heat. Blast the living shit out of it. And to me, I was like, yep, she's back on track. Here she is. Like, she's reset. The disappointment of the Aussie leg, a thing in the past now. And yes, she didn't get the win. That was in the semi. So, like, she gets to the final. But to me, the win was getting that over Simmersy Bra because now she's set for the rest of the year. It's not like this monkey on her back that she's got to keep on facing over and over. And to do it in that style, pretty sick, man.
Yeah.
Like attack mode.
Yeah, such a good point. She had to get rid of that monkey off her back and get a win over Simmersy Bra, and it's the perfect time to do it now heading into the pointy end as we accelerate towards the final five and a wave like Cloud Break. What a context to do it in. I mean, in front of a parochial home crowd up against a surfer she cannot get a win over. To get it done in those circumstances is, just a credit to the desire and the will and the want. And she is that quintessential Australian competitor. She's got so much mongrel in her. It's so refreshing to see that great Australian surfing archetype. And it was it was writ large on that first turn on what was the biggest wave. Like, she just fucking absolutely attacked it. Best turn of the contest. You know, the 9.6 is largely because of that single maneuver. Well played.
Yeah,
Pickle.
loved it. And, she was just like a junkyard dog. You just throw a fucking slab, a couple of sausages over the fence, just fucking tore it to pieces. Not even sausages, mate. Just throw a live chook over the fence and watch the feathers fly. That was the Pickle. And, Simizzy Bra, like that wave, she has not put a foot wrong out there for, just that's her home. That's her house. And Pickle's put the sword through her. So, good signs for the Pickle as we head into the back half of the season, and some fucking waves that she'll back herself at coming up too. Brazil, I think she'll take that same mongrel mentality to Brazil, but J-Bay and Chopes, mate, start licking your lips, Smithy. Start licking your lips, mate. Chicken on the menu, bruh.
In the men's, Yago Dora's 9.53 to open up the final was my best wave.
Yeah.
Not just the highest single wave score of the event, but dropped the moment the hooter for the final goes. Crazy off-axis, tail-high spin, lands backwards, transitions perfectly into a wrap, and then punches it to the inside. The air bowl on the opening section of the left with that light onshore wind is as good as it gets, and it's literally where aerial surfing was, if not invented, legitimized and refined to the point that it is at today.
The Fletcher Bowl, bruh.
For sure. Christian and Nate Fletcher, Joe Cremo. I mean, many aerial pioneers have used that bowl to great effect, and we really saw Yago attack it with just the kind of vigor of someone who's just been licking his lips for years looking for a crack at that wave. He's missed out on a few final fives there. He kind of hinted after one of his heats that, like, had he cracked the final five, he might be a world champ. Like, it just suits him to a T. That wave and that bowl, we saw Medina use this line to win a world title. A very similar attack, fucking backflips off that same bowl. Yago, look, used to live in San Clemente for a couple of years, knows this wave as well as anyone, and has just been basically salivating at the prospect of getting a crack out there in an event. This was his first ever event out there, and he fucking wins the thing.
Yeah, and also there's something going on with Yago this year, like just his swagger post-heat interviews. He looks bigger. Like, he doesn't look like the Grom on tour. And actually a takeaway from, the whole first half of this year is there feels like there's it's not as sort of, what's the word? It's not as I guess obvious as when Medina and John and Italo started going berserk, and you started seeing, Parko getting comboed when he's, still pulling on the rashy by these 17-year-olds. It's not that stark. But, like, even Philippe and Italo are kind of starting to get steamrolled by the Yagos, the Jack Robbos, the Kanoas, that next generation just underneath. And Yago this year, he's the late bloomer. He's come into himself, man. And one of the big advantages that he has is just the butter, bruh. The butter. How smooth is he?
Mate.
Like, his line on that left too, like, it was just so linked together. It was just, it was like a sauce, a nice caramelly, sticky sauce. It was just beautiful to watch. But yeah, it's interesting watching those guys come up because, Philippe's come back from a break, Italo's wheels have fallen off, and all of a sudden, who's been performing consistently all of this year? It's those five guys in the top five, Geordie being the outlier at the moment.
And you reckon a couple of really close finishes with Jack Robbo robbing him of a shot at the final five has kind of burned him deep and seen him lock in a bit more.
Probably.
He's come really close, like he kind of hinted at. There's a very good chance he'd be a world champ if he got there, and he came so close, only to get robbed by Jack.
Yeah, I think he's probably learned a lot from those experiences because if he had, I guess, from the outside looking in at least, it felt like he just didn't have enough, like, mongrel in him. Like, Jack was just so obviously out to destroy people, and we didn't see that side of Yago. Now he just looks so there. So yeah, seedlings planted, sowed, if you will, Smithy, back in the day with those losses, but he's owning every bit of this space right now, man. There's no question.
It's such a valuable currency in elite sport is a bit of anger, a bit of fuck you energy, and it doesn't come naturally to certain athletes, and Yago's one of them. He's such a cruisy, mellow dude, so polite, so well-mannered if you ever have had the chance to surf around him, but you need a bit of that sometimes. It's what gets you over the hump. It just can... It can help you lock in that little bit more and focus and do the extras that can give you that psychological edge. You know, we've seen it applied in countless different sports, this kind of mentality of somehow digging up some dirt or some reason to hate your opponent or opponents.
Yep.
And some way to convince yourself that this is fucking my time and they're taking shit off me. And it feels like Yago's kind of unlocked a bit of that energy this go around.
Mate, I'm just thinking back to, like, who's been doing the most talking to the judges this year in heats? It's Yago. Like, how outrageous is that? You would never have even picked that back in the day. And, you know, like, I think back to Bells, he was doing funny claims at the end of his scores. At Burley, he was a bit eggy. Even in Margaret's, he had one heat where he was sort of looking back at the tower and you're just going, man, not many other crew are doing that. So he's found the can't, Smithy.
And, man... on his aerial strike rate, like, I don't know if anyone's had a higher strike rate than Yago in this event. I reckon he launched about 15 rotations, and I reckon he stuck 13 of them.
Yeah.
You know, he kind of... The backside Indy, which we'll get into in a bit more detail, probably the best turn of the event, sticks it, greases the landing, but fucking falls over claiming. And... the frontside rotation was just so buttery and so on lock that he was able to pull it out whenever he needed the score. It was that simple on the left. His strike rate, 98%.
Yeah.
And that's a scary thought going into Brazil.
It is, man. He's on a tear. I just think the airs that he's doing, as I said, they're like hollandaise sauce. They're just 90% butter. You just pour it all over your eggs and your ham and your muffin, mate. It's good stuff. Yeah, no, it's a pretty awesome thing to see, and how everyone else responds. How are the other cunts going to get their backs up, or are they going to start going, you know, melting under the pressure that this guy's put on? He's looking for the first time in his career like a world champion. Like. He had the potential in previous seasons. This year, he's looking like, you know, he could get it done. And Cloudbreak is not going to be any sort of weakness for him. Man.
Oh, no.
We know what he's capable
smokes.
out there. So.
Yeah, think big, full road to
and even J-Bay, mate. Like, he's put in good performances over there over the years. So
what did he drop, a 9 or a 10
is he in a
there?
semi there? I think he's
that big backside air rev.
Yeah.
Interesting too, the judges sent a really clear message to competitors in this event in terms of what they're looking for in the air, and it's all about that tail high rotation off axis if possible. Flat spin air reverses are the new floater in that they're just simply not going to get scored unless it's on, you know, a section of the magnitude that Griffin hit at Margs. Something in that 6 foot to 8 foot range, and a flat spin full rote is going to get you a score, but it's got to be on a section of the kind of consequence that can turn your fucking legs to soggy gyprock upon landing. Like, you got to be risking every fucking ligament, the PCL, the MCL, the ACL, the works.
Yeah.
Give them the works, burger, and you'll get a score for a flat spin air rev.
Isn't that funny? I remember when this happened with the standard air rev, where, you know, it just went 1 minute, it was like the turn to get a score, and then next minute it just had like crab shells all over it. 3-day-old crab shells left in some part of the fridge that you can't find. You open the fridge, go, what the fuck stinks in here? It's like, it's not that bad yet for the flat spin, because there's still the big section. The Griffin flat spin, undeniable. Like, even a couple of Phil's ones up on the Goldie, sick. But yeah, it's got to be punchy, and it's got to have some serious consequence to it. Like, the section has to be pretty cupped out, pretty steep, and the soggy jib rock, that's a sick call, bro.
Yeah, and we saw this happen with the floater, remember? It wasn't until you were going to pull one off of the consequence of D'Souza in Brazil, like Floatergate, when Owen got questionably robbed. But it has to be that kind of tail drop, 6 foot closeout variety.
Yeah. No, we're not holding on to a grudge there, mate.
Oh,
All
no.
good. No.
moved on for sure.
Yeah.
Dogs.
Yeah.
Best heat, Vaughan. Look, you can take your pick. There was so many to choose from. So many buzzer beaters. So many to and fro encounters. The Griffin versus Toledo round of 16
So
one
sick.
was a mind melter. Griff getting the nod in front of a delirious home crowd on the buzzer.
Yeah.
The men's final was a classic. Kanoa just wouldn't go away and kept within striking distance right to the end. You kept writing him off, right from the opening buzzer. Yago's dropping the 9.53, but Kanoa, to his credit, he just kept putting up big numbers. When the requirement got increased, he'd pull it back into range. Couldn't get the nod in the end. Jack, Robbo, and Yago in the semis went down to the wire. Jack came up just short on the buzzer. He dropped an 8.03, I think it was, when he needed the 9. And I'm still not actually sure if they counted his final air reverse where he fell just after claiming. What a strange little virus to take hold of competitors. 2 in one event.
Yeah.
Yago falling over with I think same fucking heat, wasn't it? Yago's backside Indy air reverse falls over while claiming, and then Jack at the death of the heat does the same thing with a frontside air reverse. So bizarre. But for me,
It's the pipe clip. That's what that used to be. Damien Hardman famously went to claim a wave that would have potentially given him the 88 world title, and gets clipped as he's coming out. So, mate, there's lessons to be learned there, kids. Do your homework.
mate, there is. We see it in rugby league all the time. People claiming and dropping the ball over the line before they've put it down. There's something karmic about showmanship before finishing the job. So, yeah, don't claim prematurely because it's fucking so embarrassing. And Yago actually... We'll get into it in a bit more detail, but he was filthy on himself. Let's put it that way. But for me, as an Aussie Vaughan who loves grit merchants and battlers, getting it done against all odds, my best heat has to go to Joel Vaughan getting the nod over Italo. Just a fucking a great boil over upset victory, and just another example of a young Aussie upstart getting the nod over Italo, mate. He's going to be having nightmares of boxing kangaroos and Laurie Nichols on the sideline at Leichhardt and just 4Xs and meat pies swirling around him in his dreams.
Kryptonite at the moment.
Mate, he cannot beat Aussie grommets at the moment.
Nah, it's mad. And Joel, like the wave that got him that was such an uncertain air. The board goes a little flappy as he's doing it, but like, the thing that made it work was the grit. It was just pure desire to get the fucking job done. And, you know, for Joel Vaughan, he's been consistent, incredibly consistent for a first go round. For a rookie, he's had a pretty good year. You know, the cut sort of was hanging around him, but not in any real sort of, not in any sort of way that he was surfing for his life at all. But to see him come out at Trestles, get the world number 1 and just like slap him down with a clutch Sitcho was just so sick. Good to see. I love that heat. But the other, you mentioned it, the Toledo Colapinto heat I loved as well, because just from having watched it a lot of surfing this year in real time at the events, the air that Phil does is his go-to, and fair enough, that was a pretty sick one. That was like, it was a wave for wave for the heat win kind of scenario playing out at the end of that one. And Griff went so mad, and I'm just telling you, when you see like high speed, big power hacks going down one after the other, it actually does make the airs look a little flimsy sometimes. And I thought the judges, creme de la creme, absolutely nailed that one. Put your finger in the pie. Judges pull out a little plum. It was good judging. But yeah, sick one, Vaughnie. Frothing for you, Vaughnie. Up the Vaughnie!
And speaking of fuck you energy, I felt like there was a bit of fuck you energy coming from Vaughnie in that opening exchange. They come together on the A-frame. Italo gets the nod, kind of scoops in under Vaughnie, who was looking to go right. And he didn't look too chuffed with it. Vaughnie had a fucking kind of filthy grimace, you know, he said, oh, you want to go, huh? Yeah. So there was a bit of that, and yeah, it felt like that's kind of what he needed to get himself into the contest there. It basically, so just a bit of a recount of that heat. Joel opens up with a crazy layback hammer into the lip line. How dialed in has he got that turn? unbelievable. And then finishes that wave with a big, lofty off-axis tail-high air reverse, greased with a classic kind of Cheetah 5 style landing for an 8.57 to take the lead off Italo. He backed it up with a 7.43 to increase the requirement. That was for a left, featuring a series of backside snaps, carves, and a little air rev off the end section. Italo then strikes back with a sick off-axis tail-high reverse, backs it up with another tail-high rotation off the end for an 8.37 to take the lead. Vaughnie, he then has a crack at hucking a huge, like, straight air. There's a slob air reverse after that. He can't get the completion on either. And at this point, you could forgive him for just, packing it in and going, well, I've had a crack, giving it a good shot, but couldn't get the job done. But instead, inside the final minute, he finally sticks one, a huge frontside grab. Could have almost done a little judo, the way his foot comes off the board at one point. It's not tail high, but it's big, and he rides straight out of it into a vicious end section snap to pivot on the lip. And his Sunny Coast mate's head nearly explodes on the beach. Unbelievable. Just you could hear the cunt scream through the broadcast mics. Pure Sunny Coast apprentice chippy catharsis
just
moment
get that
there.
up, yes!
It's just it reminded me of an excerpt from Detroit Rock City or one of those old classic stoner rock films. He just goes, ah! Probably like a week of just fucking bags and piss and shit pizza, and it's just all exploded out of him in this moment of pure catharsis. What a great moment it was seeing the Australians represented on the beach there on the cobbles at San Clemente.
You could hear him screaming it from the Sunny Coast, mate. Get that up, yes! Get that up, yes! Get that up, yes!
But it wasn't done. So Italo gets a wave on the buzzer, hammers the lip line with a series of backhand snaps. The pressure shows, though. He has a couple of bobbles. It wasn't really a wave of consequence. He finishes and throws the most bogus claim of all time that no one, including himself, was buying. It looked like a video game kind of glitch. Just some it was that wide into his programming system to throw up a claim. Just this phony fist pump.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, Vaughan wins! Vaughan wins! Vaughan wins!
You! And, mate, what do we make of Italo? Is he a pure milk? Because, far out. I mean, it's not just the young Aussies. Okay, we found his kryptonite, but how does he arrest this mid-season form slump? It's been unprecedented to see someone go from so hot to so cold that the lippy has literally retracted that far up into his sheath that it could be almost poking out his dot.
Yeah,
it is ice cold.
The inverted belly button. He's got a full-blown innie at the moment. And looking at that red singlet, he just looks so much worse in it. He looks like a different surfer. He's back to that kind of pooey, try hard, aggressive, kind of lacking rhythm and confidence. He looks like just a different surfer in red on the skids. And, mate, I actually don't know, but how to arrest this form slump. But we're going to Brazil now, and, there's no one with a higher strike rate with air reverses than him. It's him and Yago, and it's just whether he can kind of get that tail high rotation on lock like Yago can. Italo can, but remember we were talking about why is he getting robbed on a lot of scores? A year ago, I think it was, he couldn't get a score, but it was because he kind of really goes to that flat spin air reverse variety, and he might have weighted too much of his focus on that maneuver. He's got to get that tail high to get scores.
It's just bizarre to me that he just can't. It's just been so black and white what's going on with him. But I just wonder how much friendly fire we'll get in Brazil. Will we see these top dogs sort of knocking each other out at some point? Because the draw's so much shorter now post cut. It's really interesting watching this comp. It was over before it began, and for the last comp in Australia, or can't remember which one it was, but there was a lot of friendly fire, it felt like. We saw a lot of Aussies coming up against Aussies, and so that could be a real danger for Italo, because if he does end up in a quarter, a semi with Yago or Felipe or any of the other crew who are on fire, they're all of a sudden their strength, that Brazilian crowd, just goes null, because it's who are you? They're cheering on everyone. They're not just cheering on you. So interesting to sort of see that come into play, I reckon, especially if they hook up in early round heats.
Absolutely. Best performance, Yago Dora in the men's, dropping huge numbers on finals day. 17.23 to beat Griff in the semis, 17.90 to beat Kanoa in the final. That was the highest score of the event, getting past two local freaks to win an event in San Clemente at Trestles. Unbelievable. And yeah, as mentioned, his strike rate for the super technical high-risk variety of air reverse was off the charts, man. It's crazy seeing a turn like that pulled with that kind of consistency.
Yeah.
Like, part of me wants to say, oh, it's repetitive, it's boring, but the reality is that the way he's hucking it, like kind of anti-gravitationally, like a satellite spinning through the air and just, front foot glued to the nose, pulling it back in, landing buttery, like crazy surfing, man.
Yeah. There were some really good performances in this comp, though. Big doff to Robbo for finding form. His ability to shake off a loss is at the top of the tree in my books. Like, he where did he get an early round exit? Was that at so he wins Bells. He goes to Burley. I think that's where he got knocked out first round, right? Then he goes to Margaret's. He had another early exit there, but instead of doing what Italo's doing and just overthinking everything, he just goes bang, fucking back on. Here we go, Trestles.
Yeah, sorry, it was Kanoa who beat him too, not Yago, just to correct what I said earlier. Mate, who else did we have in
and Kanoa. I mean, far out. What a year he's having. I just watched the new Quickie flick on the weekend. Washed. And, God, he surfs good in it, man. Like, big waves. And he just goes at the lip. He's underrated for his power game, I think. He really actually knows where to place his board, utilise, what his physique in a way that sends heaps of spray. And, of course, he's got the move. So it's almost as if Kanoa, because he's only got the one CT win, it's like where he's just got to tap into a little bit of that Jack Robbo, Yago Dora aggression, I think. Because something there is just slightly off where he's not getting the wins.
Yeah. Amazing in high performance kind of waves, your J-Bays, your Trestles, your Margs, but in waves of consequence, like he can get it done, but not to the level of Robbos.
But at a wave like this, he should be closing out, man.
Totally.
Like, it's like, if he's especially in the final against Yago, you would fully think he would be going, right, this is my moment. I'm going to fucking own this. And like you said, to his credit, he went at it, but it was just crazy that Yago was just on from the very second that hooter went.
In the women's, it was Betty Lou, Sakura Johnson by a country mile was my best performance. She put the highest combined total of the year together to demolish Caroline Marks in the quarters and kept the mana flowing all the way through the final. In that heat against Marksy Bra, she rode 3 waves, all of them excellent, and ended up throwing away in 8. It was another demolition, and you felt like she was unbeatable from that point on. She dropped a pair of 8s to get rid of local Sawyer Lindblad, who was riding a wave of hometown emotion as well. A product of Haleiwa, primarily. She's from the North Shore, but I see Haleiwa in her surfing more than any other wave. Just souped up Hawaiian juice, point break, rip bowl kind of setup. Watching her in the flesh, her speed, her timing, and her razor sharp reflexes is what really stands out to me. She's got this vertical layback snap into the lip that is probably the best turn in women's surfing when she gets it right, or at least on par with anything Gabriella Bryan's doing. A much smaller figure, more lithe, more nimble, but she attacks it with so much speed, and speed is power at the end of the day. So she's really firming as a title favourite. I've watched her from the beach knife one of the craziest waves I've ever seen, a chick knife at Pipeline on that big day. I think it was in the semi against the Pickle when Pickle dropped the 10. So she can get it done at Cloudbreak and Chopes as we now accelerate towards the final 5. Mate, an amazing performance in the final. Surfed an amazing heat to beat the Pickle. Incredible heat IQ, I thought, in the final. It kind of reeked of Tommy Whitaker's input. She just didn't buy into a wave catching contest. Molly was, very hungry, trying to build a house, whereas with the kind of form that Betty Lou was in, she just had to get on 2 sets. She only needed 2 waves. You know, against Mark, she's ridden 3 waves. They're all excellent. If she can get on a set, it's 8s or higher. And that's just what she did. It was a very simple strategy, and it's unbeatable when you're in that kind of touch.
Yeah, her attitude too, like that first win up at Burleigh, like you could see that it had just broke her down. Like she was just like, that's what I've been waiting for all this time. You know, I've put in the yards, I've done the work, I've got my processes, I've got my coaches, I've got everything lined up. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. It happened. And it was just so emotional, so huge, you know, like what a moment. This time around, it felt a little bit more like business time, didn't it? Like I feel like her team is going, hey, you're a world title contender. Like you can do this. And that win, it just validates everything that the information she's getting. And so her surfing's on point, but it just looks like her headspace is so sharp, man. Like her heat strategy, the way that she's surfing, where she's placing turns, everything is just fitting into this overarching narrative where it's not just like surfing in the moment. There's a bigger story at play. So she's definitely firming in as they are in that world title conversation.
And what about the peach? The peach-coloured wetsuit, I mean.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Unbelievable, yeah. Good selection.
Great
good choice.
choice.
Great colour.
Great
Looks
choice.
great on her. Breakthrough performance, Vaughan. Cole Houshman in the men. He was incredible. Big body, super agile and flexible. Insane backside attack. Generates such a variety of angles, snaps, big slashes, carve downs, spinner reverses. He's got the full kit bag backside. And then the left, you know, as we said at the top of the program, that opening air bowl, he would have surfed it 1,000,000 times in his life, but very few times with only one guy out. And you could tell those Californians, the Lokes, they were surfing from a place of pure love and enjoyment of the moment. They just were absolutely frothing to have the run of their hometown skate park with no other cunt out, because that is one of the great waves, but also one of the most crowded shit shows.
No other cunt out, and no consequence to, you know, all the pressure, like all the Trestles crew. Every single one of them was on that cut line. They've been surfing all year with this insane, just fucking weight on their shoulders. And like, I mean, Sawyer's probably the best example of someone who had really just had nothing to surf for but a good time in front of her mates. And she went nuts. But Cole, Griff, Crosby, like, they all had a blast, eh? They were just loving life.
Absolutely.
But I love seeing a big man on tour as well.
Mate,
big man.
There is nothing better than seeing a big man pirouetting through the sky.
Gotta have the big man fucking throwing buckets off the back of these gutless. Well, you know, it's not gutless out there. The surf was kind of cooking actually, but geez, even still, a big man makes it known that there's a big man in the water.
It does. He does. And there's just something about a big man with that kind of agility and nimble attack where he's able to get into positions that are so stylish. The technique is flawless. The layback lip line desecration he was pulling off is one of the great turns in world surfing. I don't know if anyone fucking clubs it harder.
Man, it harks back to the other big man of great.
Which big man would that be?
The big man, LE. Luke Egan,
of course.
Brother. Coach Eags.
Last Australian to win that event, wasn't he? Or last Goofy Foot?
Yeah, probably. But he, you know, big man. Let's celebrate the big man, Smithy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, back in the big man.
In the women's, Sawyer Lindblad was my breakthrough performer. Just dealt with the emotion of the occasion really well. Had Tana Gudeng in her corner, and a really solid performance. When she gets that rhythm and tempo going backside, fuck, she's good, man.
Hey, mate, you and I both know from long stints in Indo that there's nothing better than having a Gudang in your back pocket. It can really, like, you know, it'll put your head into a different atmosphere after a few binnies.
100%.
Sure.
There is nothing better than wrapping your lips around a nice, tasty Gudang.
Just the stickiness on your lips for fucking 3 days after you slurp one back.
Yeah.
That's good stuff. But so Sawyer, I was listening to our chat the other day about sort of the women's QS, the Changers, I should say, and the difference we were talking about in like who these CT performers are. So Sawyer missed the cut, so she's going back to the Chang. Like, she is fucking world class CT level surfer every single day of the week. Ellie Harrison from Bells, another one who's on the come up. I just wanted to. There was a few names I forgot to throw out there in that rant, but yeah, she'll be back, mate. With surfing like that, she has to be.
Biggest surprise, Italo's early round loss to an Aussie upstart in the men's, and in the women's.
Morning.
Gabriella Bryan's early round exit. Yeah, she just couldn't get started. There was a priority error to start. She made 2 more unforced errors, early falls. Just an absolute shocker of a heat. Pushing too hard under pressure. It just seemed like she's the kind of surfer where there's just this little glitch where you can apply pressure and get results when you're up against her. She's kind of prone to some strategic errors, sitting for too long, letting her opponents get a head start, and then surfing poorly under the pressure that she's put herself under. We did. We saw it at Margs. Sally Fitz.
She got away with it in Margs. That was the difference.
She really did. And it kick-started her role there. But, everything could be so different if Sally Fitz... she surfs such a smart heat, Sal. But Gabriella drops a 9 on the buzzer to take the win there. But that was a classic example of just putting yourself under too much pressure. Just surf, dude. Yep. Just keep surfing. She's a pure thoroughbred when she gets on any right with push.
Ethan Ewing is almost in the same category in some respects. So you just want to watch him surfing. Just get a little bit busy. Like the 2 best waves... Everyone says that. Just be on the 2 best waves in a heat and you'll win. But Ethan could probably be on the fucking 4, the 6 best waves of the heat. Any one of them and get the scores. So it's driving me mad that he's not getting into these finals and winning the fucking things. Sorry. That's a little side note there. But it is starting to grind me because there's no Aussies in the top 5 and it's actually on the men's and it's actually starting to grind me.
Yeah, it's a serious concern.
It's boiling
heading into Brazil.
Is what it's doing.
What else did we have here? Okay, Pure Melt. It had to be Yago Dora's premature claim after the backside India reverse. One of the great turns we've seen all year. Greased it only to stand up and claim and fall off. Absolute disgrace. Reminded me of Herschel Gibbs in the South African cricket player in the Cricket World Cup when someone hit one straight to him and he's gone to throw the ball in the air but dropped it. I think it was Steve Orr and he said, mate, you just dropped the fucking World Cup.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what he did. Lost the game. But what touch he was in, the Brazilian, because he was able to bounce back from that failed maneuver. Mate, the heartbreak, the pain... He basically closed out the heat with that thing, and it was only like 10 minutes in or something. And he talked about it on the broadcast, saying that he really struggled to shake that off. It was such an error. I can't imagine what it feels like to grease a turn of that quality, knowing the score that's coming your way, only to fall off while claiming. Crazy to be able to wash it off. It just goes to show what kind of touch and form he was in.
Yeah, that was, we talked about it. Karma Smithy. Don't start counting your chickens before they've hatched. It's the oldest cliche in the book. And you know where those chickens are going anyway, straight over the fence into the junkyard dog's house. Get chewed up, feathers exploding, blood dribbling from lips, etc. Mate, I don't want to pile on here because I feel like it was even a bit of a cruel joke that the GOAT was in this event, but...
Yeah. That was tough to watch at times.
Mate, it didn't get over a 5-5, and it just felt like, mate, stick to the reefs, GOAT!
Yeah.
Stick to the reefs, bruh!
And he knew what was coming. He actually said in his post-day interview that he didn't want to surf in the event, funnily enough.
Why did he take the wild card then?
Well, he was in Australia with his family.
He was watching Julian Wilson, like another bald old dad bod going at it, and he thought, here we go, I'm back on.
I think he was obligated to just due to Out of Known sponsoring the contest. It was just kind of written into it.
They could have chucked Hoggy in. Hoggy would have been good to go.
Yeah. I back that call, but for whatever reason, you know how these things work, contracts and clauses, and, it's such a big fucking PR stunt to have the GOAT in any contest, guarantees a certain amount of eyes on there. But, that is not the way for him, man, at this point in his career.
Look, I just, I wouldn't call it a pure melt, but I would call it a dud call from all involved, like wheeling him out, with the Zimmer frame and all the rest of it down the rocks. Like, put him in the reefs, mate. Like, if you want to see GOAT compete and actually have a crack at winning and going deep in a draw and getting real eyeballs on the thing, only use his name as a wave of Kona, a Vish, Shaman, and that's it.
100%. It's the last skill set to age is ability in the juice. The emotional maturity mixed with just the reflex-based requirements, positioning. Like it favors sometimes surfers who are older of age.
You and I were at the Rip Curl Padang Cup last year, and we saw Jim Banks in the freaking Legends Heat just stumble down the face on this thing, wind up the windows as he come off the bottom, and just get foam ball driven straight out into the channel. It was fucking remarkable to see a bloke well into his 60s getting drained as good as anyone in that Legends Heat. Like, it was crazy.
As an aside, so sick that Slater's company, Out and Own, is sponsoring a World Tour event. I mean, we've seen it in the past, but it's just worth reflecting on. Like, this is where surfers owning brands can lead, where you're sponsoring, I think you're sponsoring multiple, or no, IC now owns the Chopes event, so I guess Out and Own's shifted off that one, but it's just sick. Fuck, man, like, former Riviera projects, some of these surfer-driven companies can get to a level where they're sponsoring World Tour events, and that's sick.
Big doff to that, but like, goat in the reefs, please.
What does it all mean, Vaughan? Look, means we're headed to Brazil with a nasty-looking situation for our Aussie top 5 contenders. Robbo and Ewing outside the top 5. Ewing stays static at 6th in the world. Robbo moves up a spot at 7th. We've got Barramamia at 5th after suffering a knee injury. I wonder what the diagnosis is there.
Must have been bad.
Yeah.
Like, for where he's placed, that's a massive call to pull out of a heat when you're already through. Like, yeah, that's we'll have to get to the bottom of that one, mate. But
so he's 5th in the world.
Yeah.
Italo's dropped another 2 places to 4th. Kanoa's up a place to 3rd. Yago 2nd. And the big man, Geordie Smith, holding on to the yellow jersey as we head to Brazil.
Doesn't mind Brazil.
Nah.
Doesn't mind it.
The Christ the Redeemer claim from years back. Yeah, he's got some form. I mean, he's an absolute wizard. He's one of the most creative surfers of all time when confronted with soupy, backwashy closeout sections. The guy can get tail high. Invented. He's part of the fucking first brigade of tail high.
Exactly, man. And the other thing is, like, look at the next 2 comps after this. Like, he's just going, ooh, J-Bay, here I come, baby. I'm coming in hot. Lube up. JS, back in the house. Papa ready to dance. I reckon, like, that kind of could set him free in Brazil too, because he might just be going, mate, this is just a hop, skip, and a jump for me now. I'll just keep cruising, but I'd love to see him go deep. But let's get some Aussies back in the 5, Smithy.
Yeah.
Hang on, man. Please.
I mean, it's a pretty scary proposition. We know that Jack and Ethan are purists, that they struggle to get up when the waves are backwashy and soupy junk, and more than likely there's going to be heats contested in that in Brazil. That said, Ethan can get it done in any kind of beach break. Where he's from, Stratty, he's grown up on a beach break.
Yeah, well, he finaled there. He made a final on the backhand in left, so he's got the goods. Just surf, my man. Surf. And Robbo, I'm not too worried about. I think he's going to charge it. Lots to look forward to for this top 10 race, though. It's looking that juicy.
Mate, it's so stacked. So you've got an 8th in the world just below Jack, Philippe Toledo. You got Griffin at 9th, moving up 2 spots.
Wow, look at this guy coming home with a wet sail.
And then Leo Fioravanti closing out the top 10. For Jack and Ethan, if they can just get through this event with a middle-of-the-road result and get to J-Bay and Chopes still with a sniff, I think they'll get the job done, or they're at least a very good shot at getting the job done. This is the danger event for them.
Yeah, it is. And they need to make sure they're there again. Both surfers haven't had 3 cracks at WSL Final Fives. Like, this is the best opportunity, certainly for Robbo. I think Ethan will be absolutely fine out Cloudbreak as well. So, yeah, it's a really tricky comp, Brazil. Like, I think they've got to make it work.
In the women's, Gabriella Bryan holds on to first despite a 5th place exit. Katie Simmers in 2nd with a semi-final finish. Pickle in 3rd with her runner-up. And got Betty Lou Sakura Johnson, the big mover, up to 4th in the world. She moved 3 spots. Isabella Nichols holding on to 5th. She's dropped a spot. And then Caroline Marks, 6th. Tyler Wright, 7th. That's back-to-back early round exits for TW. Come on, TW. Well, it's actually 3 in a row. 3 ninths in a row. A bit of a late season melt there. Lakey Peterson at 8th. Aaron Brooks at 9th. And Luana Silva at 10th.
Brooksy. Mate, it's all eyes on Brooksy, isn't it? I mean, the heavy thing on the women's tour is that 3 events could literally throw that entire top 5 out the window. You know, someone gets on a roll and they can come from so far back because there's just so little difference going on. But I think T-Dub and who was just above T-Dub there?
Caroline
Marksy, bro. Yeah, they look like if anyone's going to really make a storm into the top 5 in the next 2 events, it'll be those 2.
There's a fair bit of space between Marks at 6th and Nichols at 5th.
Right.
5,000 point difference.
There you go.
Plenty of ground to make up.
It's time to fire up. Well, Smithy.
On to Brazil, mate. Starts in just a couple more sleeps.
Yep.
And I'll be up all night in the Brazilian coffee bean and Bolivian ether wash. With my eyes pegged wide open for this sack wash, Sakarima shit show.
Oh, I love it. Why not chuck the backwash and the sack wash in there, man? I'm all in on pro surfing this year. I'm loving it. See you on the big horse, bro.
Fucking oath.